In 2011, engineer and programmer Andy Weir published The Martian, his debut sci-fi novel, on his personal website for free. Little did he know this story of an astronaut stranded on Mars would go on to become a worldwide phenomenon. On the surface, The Martian is about Mark Watney, an astronaut on a NASA mission to Mars who gets left behind after his crew mistakenly believes him to be dead. But in truth, this book celebrates the indomitable human spirit and highlights our incredible capacity for innovation and ingenuity in the face of adversity. Through Watney's eyes, we get to vicariously experience surviving on Mars and watch him MacGyver his way through challenge after challenge with only the scraps on hand and his extensive scientific knowledge. Today I want to explore some of the themes that make The Martian such an impactful and engaging read. From the scientifically accurate world building to Watney's unrelenting survival mindset, The Martian shows us just how far human creativity and determination can take us, even on a barren planet 34 million miles away. Part of what makes The Martian so compelling is how realistic the world Weir built feels. As an engineer himself, he strove to portray the technology and science as accurately as possible. This attention to scientific detail immerses us in the harsh Martian landscape and makes Watney's battle for survival feel authentic. Throughout the book, Watney relies heavily on his background as a botanist and mechanical engineer to MacGyver his way through challenge after challenge. He has to get creative with how he secures food, water, shelter, and oxygen on a planet devoid of life-sustaining resources. Each solution feels believable because it's grounded in real scientific principles. For example, after NASA abandons Watney on Mars, all he has are the leftover supplies from the mission meant to sustain 6 astronauts for 1 month. He quickly realizes that his food rations will run out long before the next supply shipment arrives. His ingenious solution? Turn a small section of the hab into a potato farm using Martian soil fertilized with his own feces. Disgusting, yes, but scientifically sound. The hab provides an atmosphere Watney can pressurize with oxygen, and human waste makes great fertilizer due to its rich nitrogen content. Through trial and error involving botany, chemistry, and engineering, Watney manages to harvest enough potatoes to stay fed. Moments like these exemplify how Weir leverages real science to create engaging scenarios where human creativity saves the day. Weir also accurately depicts the harsh Martian terrain, from frigid temperatures and violent dust storms to the constant risk of explosive decompression. After a mishap destroys Watney's hab, he has to endure the barely hospitable Martian surface with just his EVA suit. He describes the bitter cold of the Martian nights and the complete isolation of being the only human on the entire planet. Again, Weir's descriptions of Mars feel incredibly vivid because they're based on facts gathered from actual Mars rover missions. Through Watney's perspective, we get an authentic glimpse of Mars's unforgiving climate that makes his will to survive even more impressive. The scientific realism isn't just limited to botany and the Martian climate either. All of NASA's policies, engineering failsafes, and bureaucratic processes also feel like Weir pulled them straight from reality. While less thrilling, these administrative details still ground the story. When Watney discovers that a piece of debris punctured his biomonitor computer during the initial dust storm, procedure dictates that the crew had no choice but to evacuate. We understand why Watney got left behind in the first place. Weir clearly did his homework when envisioning how modern space agencies like NASA operate, and this commitment to scientific accuracy allows the reader to buy into the far-fetched scenario and invest themselves in Watney's survival. Hand in hand with the scientific realism of The Martian is Watney's relentless survival mindset and the ingenious strategies he concocts. After all, accurate science means nothing if you don't have creativity and grit. Within hours of being abandoned on Mars, Watney flips an existential switch in his mind. He knows panic and despair will only waste his limited time and resources, so he adopts a strictly pragmatic mindset where every minute of every day is another minute he continues surviving. This problem-solving attitude becomes his most valuable asset. He sees each new life-threatening development as just another engineering issue to solve. As he puts it, if you take a suburban survivalist and strand him on a desert island, he'll make fire, tools, shelter, water stills, etc. I have the same luxury, except I'm on a planet that's trying to kill me 24/7. For instance, after a breach destroys his main food supply, Watney needs to grow more food fast with just a few small potatoes. Lacking actual farming equipment, he repurposes items around the hab: plastic sheeting for an airtight growing tent, cables for a watering system, and spacesuit helmets for planters. His innovation highlights how necessity drives invention. He exploits everything at his disposal in novel ways that previous functions never prepared the items for. Even in a high-tech research lab, you won't find engineers designing helmets to hold plant roots. But on Mars, with a will to survive, anything goes. Watney also needs to concoct unconventional solutions to generate water and oxygen. At one point, he burns a pyrophoric element called hydrazine to produce water vapor, which he then collects with an intricate condenser system involving tubing and cold spots in the hab. Later, after oxygen levels plunge, he scrambles to find a way to make more air. He ends up pulling pure oxygen out of the leftover hydrazine fuel using a makeshift chemical process. Both cases demonstrate how Watney adapts scientific principles he already understands to develop creative, life-saving techniques only possible because of his unrelenting drive to survive. Watney's determination and resourcefulness are most evident in his cross-continental trek to reach the incoming supply probe. Forced to abandon the hab after a breach, he guts his rovers for parts and cobbles together a vehicle he dubs the Red Dragon. He recounts, "I added up my oxygen, food, water, and fuel. Then I calculated how far they could take me. I'd be cutting it ridiculously close, but if I drive smoothly and avoid unnecessary acceleration, I should make it." Relying on his knowledge of physics and engineering, Watney pushes his pulled-together rover to the literal edge of its capabilities. When it finally gives out just 44 kilometers from his goal, he dons his EVA suit and walks the rest of the way. He makes it to the probe with just minutes of air remaining. Moments like this fully engross the reader as we root wholeheartedly for Watney's survival. Weir masterfully blends science with high stakes to create a nail-biting human story from start to finish. For me, one of the most relatable and impactful aspects of The Martian was living vicariously through Watney as he experienced profound isolation and loneliness. Sure, we can marvel at his scientific prowess and cheer his moments of triumph, but on a deeper level, I think we connect with his soul-crushing homesickness and his iron will to push forward despite having zero human contact.